If you were an employee of a company and you had the self-mission to earn $1.5 million in 2 years, how would you do it? Martin, you go first.
Mm, you're only talking about legal options or illegal stuff?
Well, I mean, wherever your
Wow,
brain
that
goes.
says so much
Yeah.
about you.
I'll probably got employment within OpenAI.
Sounds like you thought about that one. How about you,
For sure.
Patrick?
Probably do what I'm doing now.
What, sitting on a podcast?
Exactly. Exactly.
Very smart move. We approve. Dustin?
I mean, I guess if I was looking for cash returns, I think I'd try to buy and flip a company.
But
think I'm
hold
trying
on
to
a second. You are an employee,
give-
right?
Well, I'd partner with the P&E fund and have them put up the cash. So technically, I'm an employee, and then flip the company in 2 years.
Boring business flipping?
I mean, you give me a 2-year cliff. Go in there, operationalize it, and make it more profitable.
Sorry, I have a real anecdote here of what I at the time thought was the coolest employed job ever. So when I was working in energy, we had an exploration and production business. So literally go out on sea and see if there is a gas or oil field offshore. And so I was a young guy, right? So 3 years into my career, and so someone more senior than I was that enlightened me. Did you guys know that the E&P experts that literally read the instruments from the test drills would earn in a company like an E&P business 7-digit salaries for test drills?
Wow. What for?
Literally reading the instruments and saying, nope, let's have another test drill, or yep.
But there must be
This is where the field is.
Ton of risk involved, I guess. Yeah.
Big ROI. Yeah. Big ROI.
Yeah.
And so if you're literally like one of the 10 people in the world that can be trusted with this and you make that happen, I mean, heck yeah, you deserve that salary.
So maybe OpenAI is not so attractive
I
anymore.
need to read about that then.
Is that really what the normal IC is getting an OpenAI engineer?
Well, accordingly,
What would you do, Owen?
what would I do? Oh, you've caught me off guard now. Let me just read the article quickly for people whilst my brain works that one out. Basically, there was a post on X. Typically, it's not loading right now, but anyone that had been an employee for over 2 years would get a $1.5 million bonus.
Oh, so if
Over
you're
2
making
years.
300,000, then their total comp is 2.1 over 2 years.
Not bad.
700K a year. I mean, that's decent, right? Question, is it like a peak of these salaries or this is going to continue?
I'm sure these are options that are vesting.
Yeah, does it say cash bonus?
That has to be some sort of restricted stock.
It says $1.5 million, but it doesn't specify cash or stock.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Restricted stock in a company that's illiquid.
on that note,
Surprised no one says like I'll become a soccer player or football player or something.
It's not for me. I already know it's not for me.
I honestly, I would have said just play cash game poker, but that I wouldn't be.
Oh my God.
Red and black. Red or black.
If you wanted to end up with 1.5, then you need to start with 10.
I'm better than that, Patrick.
Me not. Okay. Mental note: don't play against Dustin.
Well, the lifestyle is not conducive to longevity.
Yeah. Okay. So today, guys, we're gonna discuss, well, amongst what we have already discussed, another piece of AI. I don't know if this is news, but there's been a recent poll on which AI company will have the best model by the end of August. I think you'll all be surprised. And then we'll talk about, so Procore announced their latest quarter results, as did Trimble, and there's a little bit of a divergence happening between the businesses, the big businesses within the construction tech scene. Then Derek is going to join us to talk about LinkedIn founder market, and then we will see how we go to from there. So, have a guess. You have 4 companies. The question is, which company has the best AI model by the end of August?
To
4
me,
companies you
Define
got to choose from. Google,
Define
OpenAI,
best.
XAI, or Anthropic. Wow,
or
wow,
what's
wow.
best. I can't do it without defining what's best.
yeah. That's what you want, what you ask it to do. It does it in the most concise way, the quickest, most precise. That's my definition. And
What's
I'm
that?
betting on
That's pretty good.
ChatGPT, OpenAI. For me,
Mhm.
I thought there is a scoring system which they're all benchmarked against.
Yeah, actually, for various different tasks, there are different ones. I have to say, if I could modify Martin's definition by, let's say I can only use one model. So I can't switch between models for different tasks. I have to commit to one and I can't use the others. For me, it's Anthropic. It's solid.
okay.
Dustin?
So, and this is on Polymarket.
Yes.
Okay. So imagine ChatGPT is giving them worst odds, right? I'd probably take the higher payout and then do something like Anthropic or Gemini, just because, like, I think ChatGPT is probably overvalued because of the name recognition. So the public can drive that market. So if I'm looking for an edge, I would take one of the underdogs or an expected EV that's positive.
I had Android phone recently, and that's why I wouldn't bet on Gemini.
Oh, Google. Oh, I'd take OpenAI all day long in this field. Google at 85%. No, they'll do
Yeah,
something.
I mean, check out the timing. This was literally after GPT-5 presentation.
But what? So they have to say what
Oh.
they're scoring this on. Is it just like
Yeah.
a crowdsourced
For
bet?
people that can't see, the screen currently says Google 85%, OpenAI 14%, XAI less than 1%, and Anthropic less than 1%.
What's the scoring mechanism? They say how it's going to be judged.
Yeah, well, this is what we're
basically Poly. So
Polymarket.
It's Dunning-Kruger effect at its best. You know, lots of people having an opinion, but not necessarily inside information.
So Perplexity is not here, no? Perplexity
doesn't have its own model.
Oh
Uses
yeah,
Anthropic.
it's it uses all others. Yeah. I was actually really disappointed when I tried recently ChatGPT 5, because it turned out I've been using Perplexity for such a long time, and it turns out that everything I asked ChatGPT 5 is way better than what Perplexity was used to give me. So
Did you get less compliments from GPT-5?
I didn't ask about those, but I can ask in your name.
That's a good question, Martin. That's a great question.
Some of those responses were like disgusting in the end. Everything you've done, you're like the best person in the world. Like, oh, he's such a great thinker. Here's how I would do it.
Oh my God. What kind of questions are you asking?
No, I don't. You ask it like serious questions and it gives you like, it's so great that you're thinking about this. So
there must be a British mode in the app you are using.
But what I found interesting about this was how Google, when this whole AI stuff kicked off, was like rock bottom. And now it's like miles ahead, according to the sentiment of the people that have voted on this poll, of course. So have Google turned it around?
I think Google has the biggest scope in my head to like create the largest platform out of all of it, having the search and so many Gmail users. I think.
What did they say? Like, come August 31st, what decides who wins?
What decides who wins?
Yeah, so
That's
is
true. Yeah,
it a
that's a good
vote
question.
by consumers? Is there some sort of objective, quantifiable metric?
Yeah, there must be.
Because there's money on the line here. Because at the top, the volume is 2.1 million.
Yeah, this is a betting market.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, if the betting market is like this, then I might just take Anthropic because it's going to pay, 100 to 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shall we quickly do it? Maybe who would you ask? Who would be the judge of this? Elon Musk?
Grok. Ask Grok.
Interesting though, hey?
Oh, I actually just realized that OpenAI was like at the top. I just look at the chart actually. So OpenAI was at the top, and like you said, Patrick, it dipped once the GPT-5 was.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was the night of the release.
Yeah, but that's emotions, and that doesn't make any sense. And maybe they had some glitches, but I'm sure they will sort it out. But why would you release the model which has issues? That's the other question. Like why would people do that? I don't know.
I mean,
Well,
look, you've been waiting. Sorry, it doesn't go in.
Oh, you never plan to release bugs.
Yeah, but don't you test it? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
In traditional construction, I can actually compare it. When engineers or architects release the drawing, they need to be 100% accurate. There's no like to a client.
Have
right?
you ever seen 100% accurate drawings in construction?
Oh yeah, I'm talking about myself. Yeah, they need to be. They need to be accurate. They need to be accurate.
There is 2 engineered projects in San Francisco that I can think of where clearly the calculations were wrong. One, we have a Millennium Tower that's tilting. And another, we have this
because they didn't pay enough fees.
This overhead parking bridge where literally one of the I-beams sheared in half because it was under so much tension, and they had to retrofit this building. So some glitches happened.
Yeah, but don't forget, Dustin, Martin's talking about himself. So
Yeah.
no errors here.
I always said in America, there's the most more opportunities, even based on what you say.
Take a chance. You never know what might happen.
Yeah.
So what were you going to say, Martin? Finish what you were saying.
Oh, that's you test things. You make sure that what you are giving out is correct, right? So I think, I only think, I have no clue, but with a software, that should be even more robust check because things can get automated. But I guess then your checking mechanism is millions of people doing millions of things, and to design it to a level that it is correct every single time, that's the whole difficulty.
But what is a bug that you observed?
I didn't observe any bugs, but I've heard that there was people were testing with very simple mathematical equations, like what is 4 minus 2 or something like that, and there was very silly mistakes it was making. Okay,
but that's not a specialty of an LLM per se. So, I mean, if you want to do arithmetic calculations, don't use an LLM. That drives me completely nuts. When someone writes me an email and says, Patrick, can you please be more bullish about LLMs because they now can also do arithmetic? And I'm like, sorry, I had a table calculator. It's a deterministic problem. Why would I use a vectorial probabilistic approach to come to a deterministic answer? That makes absolutely no sense. Wrong tool, wrong problem. So
that's why it's not good at predicting how many R's are in strawberries, huh?
That's right. Yeah. Or the what was it? The goat, wolf, and zucchini need to cross the river problem. We also had that one, I think, tested on LLM. So, no, but in all seriousness, I mean, of course I understand why people actually wanted to have to do math, but it's the wrong tool for this.
But are you saying that it can make mistakes, such as simple mistakes in reasoning, or because?
Of course it can. Yeah.
I don't think so.
And
what do you mean?
Physics.
I mean, if it makes.
Are you saying it shouldn't or it cannot?
It shouldn't.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. I'm saying it absolutely can. It is.
Well, if something is about to advise you on something or give you a very complicated model of whatever you are requesting, and it turns out that it makes very simple mistakes.
Yeah,
and
maybe
things.
maybe the response from the machine should be, "I can't answer that," or something.
Well,
No, but guys,
the
yeah, Dustin, go ahead.
yeah. So I think that this is also like why startups need to make sure they're using models for the right application. Like if you have a high degree of precision, models have a certain limitation and where their precision falls short. And so with math, it is either right or wrong. there is an answer. And so the model sometimes won't give you the right answer. And so make sure you're using the right tool for the right application. And know the limitations of what you're trying to do. Now, yeah, are the models probably going to get simple arithmetic right? Yes. But like it just goes to show, like, understand what the limitations are of the tools you're using.
It's really the wrong tool for deterministic answers. And so, look, I mean, we're having our own, like every company right now is, of course, hoarding data and using it, right? So in my little company, we have similar problems for 7 years. And so when LLMs came out to the wider public, we were like, Eureka, great. Now I don't need to hire my own machine learning / data science team. I can, awesome, right? And so, but because we've been developing this ourselves, I was also more privy to see actually where my own thinking around that, what can an LLM do, for me was wrong. So let me give you an example of what an LLM can absolutely not do in the best way that is practical to everyone. Imagine I were to write into my own internal fundamental database, give me all companies that help general contractors with pre-construction, especially estimation in the US. The reason why the LLM will not be able to actually answer this question is because of the word all. It will run out of context window and it will actually not give me that. You know what can give me that? It would actually be a combination of filters where the filters were auto-generated and auto-tagged by the LLM. And I use, for example, Elastic or some other natural language processing in order to pre-fill my filters. And then I use the filter system. That's the right tool, which we then actually had to figure out internally. On the other hand, if I have a broad and fuzzy one and I say, hey, like, what are a few companies working on pre-construction software, an LLM is the perfect thing for it. So that I can run broadly and with a fuzzy, non-deterministic answer across my data. LLM is the correct tool for that.
So what
it's so funny you mentioned that example, Patrick, because there is something there is something we are doing in Edify, and for simplicity we will call it AI, but it is much more of like it's shifting through a lot of project data, which we won't be using language models to do it, but under the hood, we'll just say, this is our language model, would help you determine the best benchmark projects to compare for your upcoming project. But it's not actually a language model that we'd use for that. But everyone just assumes it's an AI tool, and it's not.
And that's because actually we have dumbed down the users so much. We've noised everything with the word AI that actually people don't understand the tool.
Language market.
What if the tool would tell you, what do you mean by all construction companies? Do you mean all that you have on our database, or mean?
We have. It's a very, very. I'm going
This
to
is
be
the
your LLM.
key.
That's a great question, Martin. You are clearly brilliant and very good that you asked me this question. So thank you for asking it, and I'll now proceed processing your query. No, but
Patrick's turned into an LLM slowly himself.
but in all seriousness, that's exactly what we had figured out a while ago for ourselves. So we basically built it in a way where we have a routing. So we asked the LLM to classify the original query into, is it broad deterministic, broad non-deterministic, is it broad fuzzy or narrow fuzzy? And then either we're going to give, basically we're going to route it in the next step back to an LLM, because, for example, it could be a broad and fuzzy answer, require an LLM, or we're going to route it, for example, into type sense plus natural language processing in order to pre-fill a filter system. So literally the way you just described it is what we found for ourselves to be a good approach, is this routing.
Yeah, that's how I saw GPT-5 also works. Like I ask a question and it just asks me did you mean, do you want blah blah blah? And I think this is great because then narrows down what are they searching for, and they can be then more precise and accurate, and I'm more happy then.
Right.
Guys, should we move on to our next subject?
Yeah.
You have to bear with me because there's a little bit of context here to understand. So I'm going to read for a minute or so, but listen in because there's some detail here. So this is the article. The era of uniform rapid growth for construction technology software appears to be drawing to a close. Agree or not agree? This week's earnings report and market analysis reveal a fascinating divide in the market. Procore, the pure play cloud giant for project management, is signaling a notable slowdown in growth. In stark contrast, Trimble, a company with deep roots in hardware and diversified end markets, is raising its financial forecasts. This split suggests that in the current economic climate, the market is beginning to place a premium on companies with tangible physical connections to the world of infrastructure and machinery over pure play software as a service workflow tools. Procore's second quarter results illustrate this trend clearly. On the surface, the company delivered a solid quarter, beating analyst expectations with revenues of $324 million, representing a 14% year-on-year increase and achieving a healthy non-GAAP operating margin of 13%. However, the market's focus immediately shifted to the company's forward-looking guidance, which is what ultimately spooked the investors. Procore is forecasting revenue growth for the third quarter in the range of only 10 to 11%. This projected deceleration was significant enough to trigger a ratings downgrade from outperform to market perform by analysts at Citizens JMP, who cited concerns about the company's future revenue trajectory and ongoing shifts in its go-to-market strategy. In the face of this maturing growth profile, Procore is making a clear strategic pivot upstream, announcing acquisitions of Novorender and Flypaper Technologies to bolster its capabilities in BIM and the design phase of the project life cycle. Trimble's recent performance shows a contrast. The company also surpassed its Q2 analyst expectations, but the key difference was in its outlook. Instead of guiding down, Trimble raised its full-year guidance, signaling strong confidence in its business momentum for the remainder of the year. This forecast was met with enthusiasm from the market, sending Trimble's stock to a 52-week high and earning continued buy ratings from analysts at firms like JP Morgan and Oppenheimer. So the divergence between the two companies can be attributed to the presence of a hardware moat, whereas Trimble focuses on deep integration in the physical world, with technology not just embedded in a screen, but also within tractors, survey equipment, GPS receivers, so on and so forth. Procore, however, really just on the purely software-based layer for managing projects. And effectively what it's saying is, yeah, the shift from software now to physical space being the advantage. So what do you guys think?
I have many thoughts. I think. Go ahead.
So I recently heard something that was actually intriguing and interesting. And it's very basic, I believe, but for non-investor, it was a eureka moment. So I've heard someone talking about Yahoo, let's say in like late 90s or early 2000, and when it was at $100 billion at that time. If someone gave to you $100 billion, would you be able to replicate Yahoo search within the next few months or weeks, right? And what is interesting in this is that the valuation that you're talking about is what is the basis of this valuation? Yeah, where in a case of Trimble there is tangible stuff. In the case of Procore, it's only software. So if I don't know what's the Procore valuation right now, it is probably more than 10 billion, right?
No, it's not. It's like it's just shy of 10. It's 9.8.
Yeah. So if someone had $10 billion now, would they be able to reconstruct similar or even better product?
I mean, of course.
Yeah. So that's why it is more volatile and more prone to more violent decrease in stock price and more vulnerable, I would say. Whereas when more tangible business like Trimble, it is not so easy to create the hardware and to replicate that. That's my 3 cents.
Who wants to go next? Dustin, Patrick.
Go ahead, Patrick.
So I actually agree with the conclusion. I just think that the data that this statement uses is flawed to come to that conclusion. Like literally next quarter, we could see it the other way around. Oh, Procore outperformed the quarter, and then Gemini will tell us that it's clearly a signal that construction SaaS is now on the up. So I think it's kind of flawed data to come to this kind of a conclusion. But personally, I do think, as many of you will know, that SaaS is one of the ways how to build a valuable business. And especially in construction, there are other ways how you can also build a valuable business. And so, for example, you can align very strongly with the outcomes. If you build a robotics company, it will serve you much, much better actually to commit to outcomes rather than sell the tooling outright, at least in your early years. And construction customers tend to reward that for you. Financial services is a fantastic way. And that's also another way of providing outcomes or transaction-aligned revenue. And then, so that's one thing. And the other thing is, I like bathtubs. You guys know that. And so hardware is an amazing bathtub. There's a reason why OpenAI wants to build hardware, guys, because once you're actually distributing your own hardware and you create your own installed base, all of a sudden your software becomes not just more sticky, but also it becomes much easier to distribute new products, new software products on top of that. I mean, Apple wouldn't be Apple without its massive hardware advantage. So I absolutely love hardware bathtubs, and that's why I'm not surprised to hear that kind of a conclusion. I just think that, hey, Trimble had a great quarter and Procore had a bad quarter is kind of the wrong data to come to that.
Too early to say for sure.
I mean, Procore has had struggled since the IPO. I mean, I don't want to say something wrong, but I think they never had a profitable year. So I've analyzed it in May again, and you know, if you guys remember, so operating income margin minus 12%, trailing that is. Rule of 40, they're at 15%, so 25% below the 40, based on trailing numbers from last year. 48 cents on the dollar spent on sales and marketing, 27% R&D intensity, 19% G&A intensity. It's like so vastly different from how Autodesk, Bentley, or Trimble perform. I think it's not even a fair comparison in one way. Procore will just have to find a model that is much more capital efficient.
I think that Procore is interesting because one of their they only added 194 net new customers. They have 17,000 installed, which means they grew new logos 1%. So all of their deals were all of the growth is essentially upselling their install base. Why is that? Well, a couple things. They don't have new product offerings that can go to market on their own. They're add-ons to the Procore platform. They're not existing products that are just like the best of breed in the industry. I'm actually looking at their investor page, and they talk about how project management is sold to essentially 95% of all customers have project management. And then there's a steep drop off on every other tool that they quote unquote sell. And because what the Procore originally was, you get everything all in one. And now they've cut up different things and called them modules, which are upsell opportunities, which gives them a larger addressable market. But the problem is now they compete with best of breed in each category because you can mix and match. And so as you go down the stack, as they become less important for them to be integral in the same solution into the PM tool, customers are less and less likely to buy the Procore solution. And I'll give you an example from, my background, bidding, for example. So about only 20% of the project management subscribers actually use their bidding. 25% use their bidding tool. Why? Because it's trash. I don't mind saying it. It is absolutely horrific. they have a whole problem where they have a project directory, they have a corporate directory, and then they have the Procore network, and it's a convoluted mess, which means bidding is about reaching out to a variety of vendors, and it's just highly problematic when you have 3 networks to choose from, or 3 directories, for lack of a better word. And so you can go down the stack. Procore Pay has bombed. I don't know for what reason, but obviously probably competing with Oracle and getting people off of their pay system, more challenging than they suspected. But they have not done well with acquisitions. These 2 acquisitions, if you go to either of their websites, like I never heard of either of them. These were not high dollar value acquisitions. So I think Procore really needs to find a product vision on where they're going to go. They don't compete in pre-con at all. Their bidding tool, their estimating tool is not good. They're still just selling. And Patrick, you said this. They have, since their IPO, they've been selling the same solution, and they've been squeezing every drop of water out of whatever remains in that opportunity. And so they need to find a new opportunity. I also suspect, and I haven't pulled this data, if you bifurcated this from US versus international, almost all the growth came internationally. I would love to, I'm going to go through their investor relations, but I wouldn't be surprised if the US expansion was quite low. That's a problem when you're a big company and you have not been able to, software, you can only upsell customers so much every year until they get bad. And there is new competition in the space. Autodesk has a product.
ACC.
That's right. So there is pricing compression there. At the very least, they can't upsell as much as they used to because people can say, hey, enough. And I know Autodesk is being very aggressive with their pricing.
That's right. Customer choice is always bad for you.
Yeah.
Also, if it's $10 billion right now, how much should it be? How much more can it grow? Company which is providing.
I think Procore has an amazing opportunity, but I think that they're really going to struggle until they make this CEO decision. You've announced, is it quarter ago or 2 quarters ago, that Tui's stepping down. Who's the leader? Who's going to come in here and say,
you were sending the CV, right?
Yeah. Still waiting for a response.
Yeah, this is how we're going to go and reaccelerate growth. This is what we're going to invest in. Here's our vision. It's hard for, I'm sure Tui's saying to investors, like, this is our vision, but like, if I'm running an investment portfolio and someone who's said they're a lame duck is telling me their vision, I have to completely discount it if I'm underwriting any investment thesis, because someone else is going to come in here and maybe they're going to pivot the ship.
That is true.
Yeah.
Look, in terms of, sorry, on.
I was going to say, even as an employee or a senior leadership, if someone is trying to convince you this is the way to go, but you know that they're on their way out, it becomes less believable.
So they started the year at, I just looked at my benchmark numbers from May. They started the year at 8.7x revenue multiple, not ARR multiple, revenue multiple. And so Q2, they were at 7.5x. So they dropped another 1.2x points on revenue multiple. That is, in terms of SaaS, that's a depressed multiple.
Low,
I wouldn't go to say it's undervalued, because clearly the market thinks this is currently the correct price, but it is in terms of the benchmarks that you're going against, it's a depressed multiple. So clearly the market doesn't appreciate what they sell currently.
What's the largest contractor in the world revenue, general contractor?
Outside of China.
Outside of China.
70. I want to say 70, something like that.
70 billion, right?
Yeah.
So and these guys are doing tangible stuff. They are moving lots of materials, lots of people. And there are $70 billion. How much a software company supporting part of this business should be valued at?
Sorry, are you now going after the fixed cost versus variable cost discussion we had in WhatsApp?
You can move there. No,
but I'll let you.
But yeah, it's like, to me, but what do I know? it would be bizarre if we have $70 billion construction technology company where they would just support other contractors with some platform or services for them to do their work.
Margin, it's not top line revenue, right? It's what is a gross margin of any construction company's revenue? They pass through almost all of their revenue
Somewhere.
Yeah, I was also okay, Martin. What the way you just said it, that now hot steam is coming out of my ears when you say it like that. But we will have to animate it in the video now.
I think that was his aim.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't.
But define technology, right? I mean, you're kind of assuming that the customer is a GC, and like Dustin said, okay, I mean, in the end, GC are risk absorption pass-through kind of entities. And also define technology. I mean, I would say that if you're building a modern building materials one-stop shop, dude, you're building $100 billion business.
But are you talking about companies like Inframarket? For example.
No, for example.
Yeah. So their business model is it's actually, I don't know how to say it, but hidden tangible. Yeah. They don't own the factories, but they have exclusive deals with the factories. So there's a lot of tangible stuff that is included perhaps with the valuation.
So that is true, but the way I look at your question is more from the P&L of the industry. So if you think of the P&L of the industry and not specifically any single business, but building materials company or GC, whatever, just think of the industry, right? So in the end, in this industry, you're making, let's say at the bottom of it, if you're good as an industry, we're making 5% net profit, okay? Let's say. Very few will actually achieve that. And so you will have cost of goods sold that consist of 45% material, 45% of labor, 5% material, something like equipment, and then the remainder of the 5%, that then in the end is tooling. That's insurance, that is office, that is software, etc. So if you look at it that way, can you build huge businesses in labor? Can you build huge businesses in equipment? Can you build huge businesses in materials? Yes. And that's exactly what happened, right? I mean, Holcim is like Holcim is a 50 billion market cap company. Heidelberg is a 30 billion market cap company. Can these business equipment share? I'm waiting for that IPO. It's such a fantastic, underrated company in the world of tech. Like I don't know the numbers, but I would bet anyone is profitable.
Yeah. All of them are touching tangible stuff. Procore does not.
And Procore attacks in the GC space, which is a subset of it, a subset of the P&L, which is not the huge P&L. So when you say, hey, can someone be a 70 billion business doing that, then I think it doesn't have to do with it doesn't add value or it's the wrong customers or whatever. It's that you have to look at it from the P&L of the industry. Where do I literally find attack surface area?
Maybe.
Plus, Procore's maybe I don't know this for certain, but their larger customer base may be in the long tail of the construction, not necessarily the people right at the top, like the 70 billion, whatever contractors.
Ooh, I thought they would cut across actually.
Or maybe what TUI is doing is actually showing that's the top.
That's the what top?
They are not they are not lacking market opportunity. There is a whole lot more construction out there. 17,000 businesses does not represent the totality of the built environment. Procore built a tool that services general contractors, and it does it really well. However, the long tail is subcontractors, is service providers, is owners. It's a lot of different constituents. And there is nuance between when you're a GC and you're a sub to get product market fit. And one of the things, for example, that stems from the difference between a sub and a GC is GCs manage lots of vendors, subs support lots of clients. And so it's a framework difference if you want true product market fit. A lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people always build for the GC. And then when it comes to the subcontractor market, realize, and it's for good reason, it's easier to go after the GC from a go-to-market perspective than start with subs initially. there's a ton of product market opportunity. I just think that the company needs a real vision, because it seems a little scatterbrained. They went after pay. I think pay was to appease investors, because fintech products were, at the time they were doing it, commanding amazing valuations, and because of the GMV in Procore seems to make logical sense on a surface area. I just think they need a vision. I think it's a really good
guys.
company.
Derek is with us.
Okay, hey, I mean, sorry, I want to say one contrarian thing. So I think the key decision that Procore got wrong is actually back in 2021. They missed the opportunity to acquire HCSS when Thoma Bravo did. I know what the acquisition price was, and Procore was valued at a substantial multiple uplift compared to HCSS. That was a missed opportunity. The company was on the market.
Amazing. Okay, here we are. Derek.
Hey, Derek.
What's going on?
Are you mute?
Oh, you're muted. I'm muted. Here we go.
Oh,
We can hear you.
hey. How's it going, guys?
Good. Good to have you, man.
Good to see you.
Yeah, no, I've been looking forward to this. Patrick, Martin, Owen, Dustin. We've never formally met, but I'm excited to chat with you guys.
Cool. Derek, shall we shoot the shit? Do you want to share your screen? I think we're excited to learn about how people can win the LinkedIn game in this industry, which I think a lot of people are attempting.
Yeah, we'd love to find out.
Awesome. Let me share this. Can you guys see this?
Oh my God, is this Michigan Wolverine colors? Sorry, I can't stand this.
Well, not intentionally. This is, I guess
Okay.
this is my brand colors. Which,
Sorry, I'm black and gold
you
now.
know, which are always
said
also
black or-
Michigan.
That's not black, no? Anyway.
No, this is kind of a navy blue. It's also, I'm out in the Bay Area, and the Cal Bears right here. So this is also call it the Cal Bears. But I wanted to go over. I made this when Owen and I were talking. You had me on, and I was like, "Oh, can I build something? Can I share something?" I built this just for you guys for this time. So hopefully, this is good. But I'll get right into it.
Yeah,
So,
after this, we're
I
really
want
going
to-
to be up in the LinkedIn game, so looking forward to it.
Yeah. So I want to start off with the premise of what construction is built on. Construction fundamentally is built on relationships, right? I've heard this. I'm sure you guys hear this all the time. Construction is built on relationships. So my add to that is content is relationship building at scale. And so everyone has a story about, first customers, things like that. But content, and right now everything's on LinkedIn. LinkedIn content is where you build that relationship with scale. But I want to set kind of the stage here. So I'll go through real quick. A little bit of background on me. Again, I know most of you guys, I don't know Dustin, you personally, but love to chat more, and hopefully this can be the start of something. But a little bit of background on me, what we're looking at, like the why now. What else are people talking about? The numbers, how I actually go through an audit of founders that I pitch and I work with, and then figuring out what to write about. So a little bit background on me. I'm the founder of Builders Press. So I've worked with, at this point, 7 different AEC founders and startups, including a Combinator startup. From everything from email marketing to telling a certain brand's story to LinkedIn content. LinkedIn has, in the last little bit, has been my primary driver. I do include the views. I'll get into this more. I don't think views are that important, but I need, I guess, some sort of stat or something to show kind of my background and such. So these are also little comments about things I've written before. Hopefully there's some backgrounds on who I am. But the why now, right? So when you're thinking about LinkedIn, and again, Dustin, I think this will be I'm most interested to hear your perspective, because I know I've talked with Patrick and Owen and Martin about
Yeah,
how they
it
think
clearly
about
wasn't that
content.
interesting. Yes, sorry.
But the why now. So there's been lots of studies or reports coming out of people building that level of trust, right? So you've seen 92% of executives, 92% of people trust executives who post regularly on social media. 44% of this is from executives estimate that 44% of a company's market value is tied to the CEO's reputation. So that's actually a lot higher than I was expecting when I was doing the research. But if you see something as volatile as like a Tesla, you can understand
That's
a
a
little
very
bit why.
bad statistic, right? If your whole company is dependent on your reputation,
the
then what
CEO's
kind of
reputation.
business is it? Small consultancy like mine.
Exactly.
No, I mean, what were we just talking about with Procore? Like, if Procore recruited like some CEO that had previous track record of recreating a SaaS vision and scaling that, you could see Procore jump up 20-25%.
Totally. Right. And I know I don't know what you guys were talking about before. I know Tui has shared that he's planning on stepping down and finding a successor. So that's probably another big thing of what they're thinking about and looking for. And then 90% of employees actually agree that when a founder is active on social media, the company brand is enhanced, right? So all these numbers getting thrown out. But it's not just me, this random guy, who's claiming all these things. You have people like Gary Tan. There's an interview he did on the My First Million podcast. Big fan of them. Where he said, hey, if you're running a business today, you basically have to be a creator, because you have to get eyeballs somehow. You have to get in front of people somehow. Kevin Kelly, the founder of Wired Magazine, he's done so many other things. Actually, back in 2008, he came up with this idea of you only need 1,000 true fans. He wrote a post about this, which has
Martin,
been
only
very...
999 left to go.
Is that your OnlyFans account, Martin?
Did you mention OnlyFans, or like was it on purpose to put these two words together?
we're gonna up that number, all right? And then, as I'm sure as you guys all know, Sarah, she actually said this a few weeks ago on one of my posts, was about how LinkedIn really is about capturing that mind share. Right? The idea that over time you capture that mind share leads to brand recognition, which ultimately drives the ROI of the business. So there's a bunch of other people who talk about this, but when I talk to a lot of founders, they always ask me about the numbers: how many impressions, how many views, how many likes, things like that. And it's hard, but I always tell them it's not about the numbers, right? Because you can have, especially on LinkedIn, there are many ways to go viral, for lack of a better term. But if those aren't the people in your audience that you're trying to reach, then it doesn't really matter, right? Would you rather be trying to reach out to 100 college graduates, or you have one VP of ops at like a Swinnerton, right? And I do want to point out this photo, mostly because I couldn't find a good one until I found this one, and I paid $12 for the license for this photo, because I was like, I can't find anything else. I thought this photo was awesome, so I'm just pointing
I would
it
agree
out.
with this, by the way. In my experience, you speak to marketing teams, departments, and they would be more interested in 100 college graduates than one VP of ops at Swinnerton.
Yeah, right, and that's challenging when you're always talking about marketing numbers like views, and I can get more into this a little bit later, but views likes, all these things tend to be all vanity metrics,
Vanity. yes.
where you like comparing. You can compare your post to someone else's post, and you're like, man, that person got 50 likes, 100 likes. Like, it doesn't really matter, dude. Like, it's not about, you're not focusing on the numbers. Are you reaching the right people? Something that we can talk about later.
Totally agree.
So a little bit of an audit, and I do a breakdown of my own profile. We can even pull up other people's profiles. But making something very clear on LinkedIn is super important, right? I spend too much time on LinkedIn, but I hate when I'm on there and I see something that's like, transforming the built world, dad, girl dad, father of two, or something like that. I'm like,
Ex-McKinsey.
I have no, yeah, ex-McKinsey,
Deloitte.
ex-McKinsey,
Ex-Goldman.
ex-Goldman, Harvard, right? And I look at that, I'm like,
That's
have
my
no
whole
idea who
problem with
you
this
are.
platform.
Yes, right. I have no idea who you are. I don't, and then like you kind of look, and it's they have nothing there. I can't understand who they are, what they're doing, how they're helping me, all this stuff. And so that just frustrates me the whole time. So I break LinkedIn, particularly the header, down into two parts. You need a who you are, which I have here highlighted in the red. So most people have this. This is kind of the default. Who are you? Oh, hi, I'm Derek. I am the founder of Builders Press, right? Or hi, I'm Patrick. I'm the founder, GP of Fundamental, whatever it is, right?
Derek, how do
so
you
most
feel
people,
about the people that call themselves construction innovator or thought leader or industry expert?
Mhm.
I always find those like, if you are titling yourself
Yeah,
one of
you're
those
not.
things, I'm like, you're probably an idiot.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like,
It's-
I discount them so much if you have to give
Mm.
yourself the title of thought ambassador for XYZ, or there's so
Yeah,
many
so-
people that have that label, and I'm like, oh my god.
Fully subscribe.
I understand that. I feel the same way, particularly when it comes to. I mean, I'm not really on Twitter or X anymore, things like that. But a lot of people will put things like that thought leader, or like polymath, or some word that's again, Dustin, as you're saying, like if you're putting it in there.
Crypto technical analysis expert.
Yeah. Then like it does I don't know what the term
Patrick,
for
that
is,
was for
but
you.
like
Thank you.
it,
I feel seen.
exactly. I don't know what the term is. Like, by calling it out, it's almost reversing the your belief of it.
Right.
There's I'm kind of deviating a little bit here, but Dustin, to your point, there's this phenomenon. Again, I'll have to look it up after. Where if you call out something that should be assumed, you actually add a lot of doubt and skepticism. For example, if I, am selling you a tomato, I'm like, hey, you want to buy this tomato? But if I call it out and I'm like, hey, do you want to buy this vegan tomato? And then suddenly you're looking at me and you're like, what? Do I want it? I'm like, it's a vegan tomato. Don't you want it? It's like, well, no,
That's
I
what I call bullshit.
assumed. Yeah, right. I assumed it was that, but now that you're calling it out, I don't believe you.
Hmm.
Nice.
And so
God.
I love the example.
that's it's a weird analogy. So again, if you're putting that in your bio, I tend to agree. Anyways,
It's like when you call yourself
So-
hot on your own Tinder profile and no one believes you.
exactly. So the first part of every profile, who you are. So that way I have if I'm a stranger and I land on your profile, I know exactly where in my brain to put you, right? Because if you don't even have that, I'm just confused about who you are and how I'm talking to you, right? The next part, which is the more important part, is the how you help, and I break this down into a who, a what, and a how. So I break this down into who am I helping? For me, in this case, I'm helping AUC founders. Do what? Turn them into thought leaders. And then how do I do that? Through ghostwriting. So it makes it very clear and obvious after 5 seconds. Someone who's never seen me before, never met me before, lands in my profile, knows exactly who I am, exactly who I help, what I do to help them, and how I do so. And so just making that clarity is honestly like not a really easy step, because it actually forces the person to think, which is becoming more and more rare. Is okay, I have to clarify who I'm actually helping and what am I helping them do, because lots of people who are doing their best, they'll put something like I crunch data to help construction projects run more efficiently, and like that's what you do, but no one cares about what you do. Like people want to know, okay, what do you do to help me? That's why I have this framework. How do you help me? Especially as a founder, where your job is like always selling, you have to be able to make it clear about who you're helping and how you're helping them. So a little bit of breakdown.
Cool. Yeah. How do we get to 1 million followers in the next few weeks, Derek?
I can't say that, nor do I say that's the right thing. Let me go through these, and then I'll address the whole thing behind numbers. So a lot of people ask me, what do I write about, right? So a big thing is being able to call people out. That's, again, particularly big. This is probably, I think I'd have to look. I think this is probably my most quote unquote viral post ever, and it's just because I did it as a call out, and this was kind of beginning of this year, and just like, hey, call people out, and people just exploded. That whole thing exploded. But you can also do things like consolidating info. You're saving people time. People want to learn about it. And then the last one is discussing ideas. This was a post that had gotten a lot of attention because there's a lot of people engaging in this one. I wrote a longer post about who's going to change or what's going to change the construction industry. Insiders or outsiders, people from the industry or people not, and that's something else that we can get into. But these are all things to write about. And then I'll end with this picture of a box of donuts. And
Bring donuts to the construction site.
Yeah, I brought this up because after I've spoken with probably 100+ different AEC founders, and almost everyone has the same story of the donut open, where getting the first customer was literally just bringing a box of donuts to a job site and saying, hey, can we get 15 minutes of your time? Here's a box of donuts, right? So you can do that for your first few customers as you're getting started. But after a certain point, there's no way you can reach, 100 job sites a day with a box of donuts, unless that's your go-to-market plan with your whole sales team, right? Everyone buys a box of donuts and brings them to a job site. So at a certain point, it just doesn't scale. But the thing is, now in 2025, where everyone's becoming more and more online, content, I call it now, content is the donut open. It's the first step into building that relationship with people, around the nation, around the world. So anyways, that's my little spiel.
Cool.
But yeah, hopefully
Derek.
that helps.
So, key message: get on LinkedIn.
My
post.
biggest issue with LinkedIn is when I see people talking about their personal things instead of providing value in their day-to-day like posts they're posting. So they just keep adding the posts just to have lots of posts, but without value in what they write. And yeah,
Depends what you're using it for, I think.
Yeah, it's LinkedIn has become
the problem is that people like it, and then it kind of reinforces this kind of
exactly. Creating for the algorithm. That's a legit strategy.
Yeah.
For people, whether you like it or not.
But then we come back to the question: who are you targeting? If you're targeting people who like your complaints, then I don't know what's your product and what you're selling, and if you're going to sell something to them. But
surprise.
Maybe.
Yeah. So as to your Owen, to your question about how to get to 1 million followers in the next few weeks, that's not something. Yeah. The thing, there's a few things behind that. One, having the goal, like when I talk to founders, they're like, okay, how do I 10x my views? And I'm like, for what? What's the goal? What do you want to get out of this? Oh, I want to be big. What does that mean? Like right now you have 500 followers. So like we need to get specific. If it's just views, then you can work with like a PR agency and like try to get published in the Wall Street Journal or something. Like that will get you views. But if you're trying to target and build that following community of whether it be estimators, maybe it's subs, maybe it's MEP contractors, whatever it is, it's not about going viral. Like it really isn't. You get 10 likes on a post, but if you can have people who are like I've a quick story from a client of mine who actually I think most of you guys know. But I've been working with a client, and he went to a entrepreneur's dinner, maybe like a month ago or so, where there's maybe 3 dozen other entrepreneurs, AEC founders, things like that. And he said he knew about half of them, kind of. But at some point throughout that night, everyone and basically everyone at the dinner had come up to him and said, "Hey, dude, I've been loving your posts. I've been reading them. I think they're great." And he was so confused because he's like, "Who are you? Like, have we met before? Like, do we know each other? I've never seen you like or comment or anything like that." But they were all reading, and that's LinkedIn's a big place for lurkers. But that was really big for him because he's in the middle of trying to form partnerships and build up other relationships with other startup founders and things like that. So
cool.
Quick story there.
Thanks, Derek. All right. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Yeah, people reach out to Derek if you need a LinkedIn help in AEC tech world.
Great work and good luck, man.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Derek.
Appreciate it. All right.
See you soon. Bye.
Thanks, Derek. Guys, so I just had as to our discussion earlier about how they are going to judge the AI models. So Ben from Build Vision commented on our live feed on LinkedIn, and accordingly, they use this here, lmarena.ai. So this shows, I'm not too familiar with this, but from what I can grasp with a very quick glance is that you have the models, and then you have what their usage is. So text, web development, vision, text to image, so on and so forth. And then you have the rank of each of the individual models. So for example, within the text category, GPT-5 High has a score of 1,481, which puts it in first place. Gemini 2.5 Pro, 1,458, second place, so on and so forth. And I guess so by 31st of August, whoever is top here or has the most highest score wins. I don't know if that's the conclusion, but it makes sense.
It's actually funny when people are kind of live comparing the performance of like models of, I don't know, you can call them platforms, perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's quite a strange thing to
And
think
like,
of,
how
you know.
relevant is it?
This has
really?
become a thing now.
Yeah, how relevant is it for what you're doing with these models? I doubt that 99% of people will have any benefits of like using the top model instead of just the second model. But
Yeah. Everyone wants to be the best.
AI race.
Isn't that beautiful? Having to spend billions on getting a model to an incremental improvement over your competitor who also spends billions on then
Yeah.
getting another incremental improvement. Sounds like a really great model. I mean,
Yeah, it's like I said earlier about this Yahoo kind of example, right? When someone said, "How much? If I gave you, I don't know, $100 billion, will someone be able to replicate this success? Like, obviously not tomorrow, but within some period of time." And yeah, there's something interesting about this comparison, at least in my head.
I've got another topic for you.
oh, please go.
What do you think? Dustin, were you going to say something?
Sure. I was told an interesting thing about Cursor AI that I think, well, I not think. I was told that their revenues were something like 650 million, but they paid Anthropic 750 million.
So I didn't hear that, and I thought the revenue of Cursor was higher, but maybe this is just a difference in point in
Maybe-
time. But
yes.
I am not surprised to hear that at all. Zero.
Which is really problematic for these sort of wrapper AI companies.
Yeah.
So Cursor's revenue is 650 million. They paid Claude 750 million to generate the 650.
Yeah, and the rest is investors' money.
Well, I mean, that doesn't even talk about the rest of their cogs of operating that business and their OpEx expenditures. But I found it fascinating, like just how negative gross margin some of these companies could potentially be.
So here's the number I had in mind. So actually yours is higher than mine. So July it was reported Cursor was at 500 million ARR. So 650 would be actually yet another good growth spur. But then paying, actually I think Anthropic.
They're Anthropic, right?
I think they publish their biggest revenue accounts, actually. Let's see if we can find it.
Anthropic? Well, everyone seems to use Anthropic, no? It's just what Lovable uses as well.
No, I mean, on web dev, it's like, I think if you do web dev, you would definitely use Anthropic. I think also it's much better actually for text editing, but that's because I typically like highly specific, extremely low hallucination, exactly the style and the tone of wording. For me, actually, Anthropic hits it out of the park ever since I've been starting using it, and ChatGPT always had this more fuzzy thing. It's literally the same prompts. So.
Do you want me to bring? Oh, go on.
No, but that's. I mean,
it's probably not far off the numbers I was told. Okay.
Yeah, and then I mean you have to audit also then the Anthropic gross margin and the OpenAI gross margin. I mean the information had a great audit on that one a couple of weeks ago. You can find it online.
Well, it also makes me think of, I mean, there is some systemic risk, right? If Cursor falls, then Anthropic loses all the revenue. Who steps
exactly
void? So there is. You can see dominoes aligning where there's a cascade epic failure. It's like a mortgage lending crisis, right?
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. This is. I'm not going to go so far to call it a bubble, but there's no real arm's length here, because actually a lot of the revenue that goes into these foundational companies comes from other venture-backed companies that are backed by the exact same ecosystem that backs this one. I've been saying and shouting this from the rooftops for months. If you were to examine how much of the revenue comes from true traditional non-venture-backed companies, I would be very interested to see those numbers, and I would be very surprised if it was even 50%.
You guys even had this episode on Practical Nerds a few months ago.
Yeah, no one's going to publish those numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what, do you want to hear something even crazier? That the UK government potentially thinks it's acceptable to let tech giants burn more fossil fuels, so sacrificing the climate to allow the tech giant to allow and facilitate the UK to becoming the global leader in AI. So apparently there was leaked minutes from a UK government meeting that revealed that ministers were told, in quotes, tech giants must be allowed to burn more fossil fuels if the UK wants to be a global leader in AI.
Oh my God. What the focus? You can't build a house in this country because there is a suspicion that there were bats in the area 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And
I mean, guys, let's zoom out. Let's imagine we were a race of aliens, okay, just observing what is happening on this little blue planet here, and you could listen into all the conversations, and then you would hear the entire world population talking about artificial intelligence, this artificial, and you're sitting back and you're like, how about someone becomes world leader in intelligence? I mean, just start with that.
More opportunities we will see just because of this trend. Everyone focusing on the artificial intelligence, automation, software, etc. But the real world is not software. So I will see there will be more and more opportunities in real stuff because people swinging more towards the software and the delusion of doing things, whereas the real world is not software, at least not yet.
You need both, but
you need both.
You need both.
Yeah, for sure.
Anything else?
Hey, you didn't bring it up on the topic docket, but let's not leave it unmentioned. I'm not involved, but congratulations. This is already a couple of weeks ago to everyone involved in Boxable. They went public through a SPAC, 3.5 billion IPO, July, I think. Let's not leave it unmentioned. Also, congrats.
Yes, we didn't cover that. Boxable to build homes out of a box. Yeah, they're like modular homes that like fold open, right? And I think they run as cheap as something like $20,000 maybe for one.
It's in the US, right? They're in the US, right?
Yeah. Yes. And difficult space, attracted a lot of money. We dabbled in it once or twice too, and so I'm just glad that someone actually gets to have some kind of home run here. I'm not going to make a prediction on the share price, but
it's good for awareness to that industry as well, modular, because I suppose the press is always 90% negative when it comes to modular and the success of modular and people going out of business and so on and so forth. So happy days for them.
Yeah, it's like quite a lot of all these IPOs recently, I would say. Figma.
Actually, I can connect this topic, now that I think of it, I can connect this topic to exactly the previous topic of AI, if you guys are in for a fun anecdote.
Let's go.
Okay. So the CEO of a large known general contractor tells his IT head, hey, when can I design our buildings with a prompt to AI? And the IT head, at some point, I'm sure he had a lot of other conversations too. He calls me and he says, Patrick, what am I supposed to answer to him? And I'm like, well, your buildings are pretty deterministic. Are you sure he understands that literally a configurator would be the correct approach to do this? And then you can load some kind of, natural language interface on top in order to actuate the configurator. He says, no, he literally thinks that the answer is through an LLM to design buildings. I mean, our entire conversation today.
Yeah, but I think what he meant, that's my guess, is to have a configurator, like you saying. However, it will be wrapped in a illusion of AI. So you would have set of deterministic outcomes coming from the configurator, but you will be playing with a perhaps unlimited or almost unlimited number of options while speaking to your AI.
You, sir, have a much more philanthropic outlook on mankind than I do, and unfortunately, I know that CEO.
Okay. Okay. But I've been saying that I'm looking for design as you speak solution that will happen in well AE space.
I'd love that.
Okay. Should we wrap up?
Sure.
Thank you, guys. See you next time.
Thank
See
you,
you
guys.
guys.